So come things to invest. We'll talk about investing, finance, and professionalism for today's systems only. The investment you're going to talk today will be 30 ETH. First, I want to say happy Friday, everybody. We're a great week, by the way. Respect to recording time of 9:58 a.m. on the Eastern Time. Ethereum contract $4,520, up about 0.09% so far. As you can see clearly on the overall crypto market, is relatively flat to down, respectively, while the equity market is a little bit more volatile today, right? We're experiencing, further sell-off across the spectrum because of the fact that the Omicron news seems like it's worsening. In addition to the first case that we identified a couple of days ago on the media front, but with respect to that one traveler coming from South Africa, he was diagnosed on the 27th of November. And seems like in addition to that one case in California on the West Coast, in a regional domestic perspective, there seems like there are more cases that's popping up around the Omicron virus contamination. So with that affectation driving further sell-off across the market. And with the Ethereum and obviously Bitcoin and crypto assets as a whole is characterized as some sort of a safe haven type of instrument, right? So in addition to the Omicron news, we are a little bit more mitigated in terms of this downturn that we're experiencing in the equity market, which is prominently displayed in comparisons to crypto right now, right? And also with respect to the affectation that also subsided a little bit is with respect to the inflationary pressure, right? We heard from the testimony that we have heard from Jerome Powell and Janet Yellen a couple of days ago, right, during this past week, right? So that also bakes into the current level that we're at right now. So some of the questions that I've been getting so far, are we in the bearish state right now, or are we still in the bullish state right now with respect to Ethereum? I would say we're still in a bullish state at the moment right now. But why is that? I'll dive into that in a bit within my technical analysis. But before I do that, let me just go through the news real quick just to see anything that's really worth mentioning. So the first one, talk about Bazinga about 3 hours. We'll talk about Cathie Wood trims another $50 million from Coinbase and buy more Square shares amid the crypto enthusiasm. So it seems like Cathie's selling on a loss again. This time about $50 million, 49.4 to be exact, to be adopting, knowing the fact that Square has implemented crypto infrastructure for their customer or commercialization front for retail customers that uses crypto. So seems like she's hedging against. So we've seen two major shift of activities in her portfolio. From the purchasing of additional shares for Zoom, now shifting more shares to Square as well. So quite interesting. And the next one's on Cointelegraph about 7 hours ago. Talk about Ethereum's about to go parabolic against Bitcoin as analysts wait Bitcoin bear case. So this is I would kind of agree with what the verbiage is saying here. It seems like Ethereum is currently forming a cup and handle like we've been talking about, right? But with respect to Bitcoin, the handle or the cup is still some way for us to get there, right? I think for Bitcoin we still have about approximately I would say $12,000 for us to leap up to the next level of forming that rim of the cup. But Ethereum is much closer, right? We're technically about only $300 away. So in a percentage perspective and also in a monetary perspective, Ethereum is a little bit more, I would say a lot more bullish in comparisons to Bitcoin, right? So I don't think that's not a nonsensical article that they're writing about. I think if the cup and handle is confirmed, we are going to see some parabolic movement as the next level because as it confirms, we're going to surge up as the next level as the technicals come true. And then the next one's talk about Cointelegraph. It seems like there's some research, and this is coming from the Australian University. One of the researchers has done some qualitative and quantitative analysis around the proposition or the value proposition of Ethereum and comparing that to the value to Bitcoin, and they're saying that Ethereum is superior in terms of its value that it holds in comparisons to Bitcoin. So that also obviously drives some volatility to the market. So feel free to take a read on that article. That research report is pretty comprehensive based on my high-level read so far. The next one is talking about Cointelegraph. Talk about regulatory fear. Put damper on Ethereum's traders' $5,000 target. Right, this is something that we're still working on. Obviously, with the Feds, on their initiatives on stable coins, to the crypto bill, to the infrastructure passing of the $1 trillion bill that Joe Biden has passed, and the tax provision, etc., etc. Obviously, anytime we hear the keyword regulatory, or restrictions, or some sort of line with respect to compliance, investors are going to be a little bit more worried about their profitability potential, right? So $5,000 the next target in terms of being a hindrance. I think in the short term, yes, but in the long term, because crypto is still in a nascent stage of development, we need to have some sort of a privacy protection in the technological front, but also in the regulatory front, right? So I totally understand where it's coming from, but I would characterize it as more of a short-term volatility rather than a long-term hindrance, if you may. And the next one is talk about with respect to Anthony Sacramucci, which is a crypto fund manager from Skybridge Capital. He's saying that he sees great bullish momentum as the market reverse and potential flip on Ethereum. So what he's saying is basically that we are within a bullish state for Ethereum. He sees a lot more upside potential for this asset. And that's exactly what he's in his article and in his recent interview with CNBC, I believe, that says it here, that he sees some more bullish momentum ahead for Ethereum specifically. And that's pretty much it on the news front. So let's dive straight into the technical. So right now, Ethereum just kind of trading on a sideways fashion because of the hindrance news from the Omicron. But right now, we are at an okay level. We're in a neutral 53 out of 70. We are, let's see, we just crossed on a golden cross perspective, right? That's the reason why we search up like this, right? So right now, in the perfect world, we'll be just kind of trading on a sideways fashion, right? And then dip to the level of identification that we have set, like anywhere from 4,400 all the way to the 4,300. And as we recuperate, you form that U shape. That will be the handle, in this cup that we're forming, right? And as we get there, we're gonna, technically translate into a surge as a next stage of this momentum shift. So with respect to Bitcoin right now, right now we are down about 0.56. I would say it's relatively trying to be bullish, but it's not that bullish. It's kind of bearish actually with the 43. So I don't see a sell-off very, very prominently going forward, but it's not the best either because ultimately we need to breach that all the way to making the rim of the cup and make a handle. But it seems like it's not doing so, right? It seems like we have a long way to go from here. So Bitcoin might be a little bit lagging behind in comparison to Ethereum based on the momentum currently. Dogecoin, I think the current level is not a bad level to incur risk. Anywhere from current level to 1950 is still a better level. Cardano is selling back down to 162 at the moment. So anywhere from like the 150 to 145 is still a dip from here. Solana is selling back down. I think that we just formed a golden cross, and that's why we recently search up like this. But right now we're normalizing. So ideally selling back down to anywhere from like the 191 as we break 200, which is possible. But ideally for me, I would just probably wait off until we deplete back to more of a normal level that we have identified below, right? At 133 to 113 from here for myself, obviously, not just for everybody. XRP seems like it's dying at the moment right now. Very bearish still, with the 38 out of 70. But I think the 93 and the 80 are relatively good resistance level. So I'll just probably hold, actually. I wouldn't worry too much about it. and buy the dips as we get to a 93 or 88, because we're relatively at the bottom floor right now, and we're about to cross up. So as we cross up, we're gonna see 101 first, and then 110 as the next level. Polkadot is at down 1.16%, so anywhere from 33 to the 25 is still the better dip. Algorand, again, right, 160 to 152 was the dip. Shiba Inu, I know, I've been getting asked, like, I shouldn't be talking about Dogecoin or Shiba Inu anymore. I need to do a little bit more research on the other ones that you guys mentioned, so I don't want to just, like, misinform. So let me do a little bit of homework on the ones that you guys have, given me. So I'll get back to you guys on the, as I do a little bit more research on it. And with respect to current level, again, right, as we deplete back to a more of a normal level, anywhere between 2,800 to the 900 is still a better dip for us. So with respect to risk management level, dollar cost average chart, these are the levels I've identified so far. And these are my conservatism, my risk aversion, as we deplete back to below 35 or the 30 on our RSI scale, so we form that Predator golden cross. And that will incentivize me to incur logical risk from here, right? So it's definitely a volatile couple of days, and I hope that you guys are thinking logically and not just sell because of fear, or even though it's uncertain, but like as the price go down, actually the risk is actually decreasing at the same time, right? You might be red for a little bit, but as you ride through it and stay logical and hold for long term, you will not lose. Just patience will pay off eventually. So don't panic, don't be worried, and let's stay in this together, and let's it takes a village to drive the market, right? So if we collectively give up, it's gonna obviously drive fear and more sell from there, right? So hopefully this is helpful. Really appreciate you for the support, and let me know how I can help, and stay tuned for some come up. Take care. Bye.